This is the 10R Bekius assignment number 1. This is the Gemara in Pesachim, Daf Tzadi Tes Amud Beis. The Mishnah begins by discussing 3 specific rules that relate to the holiday of Pesach. The Mishnah begins on line number 1. Erev Pesachim Samach L'Mincha. On the afternoon, the day before Pesach, on Erev Pesach, Samach L'Mincha, close to the time of Mincha. We will learn through the Rashbam that is 9 hours, 9 halachic hours into the day. So from 9 hours into the day, Samach L'Mincha, Lo Yochel Adam Ad Shetechshach. A person is not supposed to eat on that afternoon until it becomes dark, until Pesach begins. Rashi and the Rashbam explain, because we want you to have an appetite for the Seder, and therefore you're not supposed to eat in the afternoon on Erev Pesach. Rule number 2. Afilu ani sheb Yisrael lo yochel ad sheyasev. Even the poorest man in Eretz Yisrael, meaning even the poorest man in Bnei Yisrael, every single Jew is not supposed to eat on Pesach unless they do heseba, unless they lean while they eat. Rule number 3. Velo yifchetu lo me'arba kosa shel yayin. And a person should not have less than 4 cups of wine at the Seder. Afilu minat tamchui. Even if a person is so poor that they are supported, they get their food from the charity, from the soup kitchen, so even such a person is required to have 4 cups of wine at the Seder. The Gemara on this daf will go into further detail to discuss the first rule, the first case of the Mishnah, that you were not allowed to eat on Erev Pesach from Samach L'Mincha, from close to Mincha and on. Ask the Gemara, my area Arvei Pesachim. Why does the Mishnah specifically teach this rule with relation to Erev Pesach? Why only on Erev Pesach are you not allowed to eat in the afternoon? Afilu Arvei Shabbosos v'Yamim Tovim Nami. The prohibition against eating in the afternoon applies to every regular Erev Shabbos and every Erev Yom Tov. You're not supposed to eat on Erev Shabbos or Erev Yom Tov. So why would the Mishnah specify only Arvei Pesachim? The Tanya, as we learn in a Brisa, Lo Yochel Adam ba'Arvei Shabbosos v'Yamim Tovim min ha'mincha u'lamala, that a person is not supposed to eat on Erev Shabbos or Erev Yom Tov from Mincha and on, Kadeshi Kanish L'Shabbos Kashutava, so that you should enter Shabbos with an appetite. You want to go into Shabbos hungry, so you can enjoy your Shabbos or Yom Tov meal. Divrei Rabbi Yehuda. So Rabbi Yehuda is of the opinion that you're not allowed to eat on Erev Shabbos or Erev Yom Tov afternoon. Rabbi Yossi argues, Ochel v'holech ad shetechshach, that you're allowed to eat and continue eating on Erev Shabbos or Erev Yom Tov until it gets dark. So the Gemara's question is that why does the Mishnah specify the rule for Erev Pesach if, according to Rabbi Yehuda, the rule exists for every Erev Shabbos and every Erev Yom Tov? Answers the Gemara, Amar Rav Huna. Rav Huna answers, Lo nitzrucha ela Rabbi Yossi. This Mishnah that you're not allowed to eat on Erev Pesach afternoon is only necessary for the opinion of Rabbi Yossi, because Rabbi Yossi says Ochel v'holech ad shetechshach, that you're allowed to eat in the afternoon until it gets dark. Hani mili, this only applies, these words are only true, but Arvei Shabbosos v'Yamim Tovim, you're only allowed to eat in the afternoon, according to Rabbi Yossi, on Erev Shabbos and regular Erev Yom Tov. Aval be'erev Pesach mishum chiyuv v'dematzah modeh. However, on Erev Pesach, because of the obligation to eat matzah on the first night of Pesach, even Rabbi Yossi will agree that you're not allowed to eat on Erev Pesach afternoon. According to Rav Huna, the Mishnah is only there to show us the opinion of Rabbi Yossi that Erev Pesach is specified because Erev Pesach is different than regular Erev Shabbos and Erev Yom Tov. Erev Shabbos and Erev Yom Tov, according to Rabbi Yossi, you are allowed to eat in the afternoon, but the Mishnah tells us a new specific rule to Erev Pesach that even Rabbi Yossi will agree that on Erev Pesach you're not supposed to eat because of the chiyuv of eating matzah that is coming that night. That's the answer of Rav Huna. The Gemara offers a different answer, now of Rav Papa. Rav Papa Amar, Rav Papa said, Afilu tema Rabbi Yehuda. You can even understand this Mishnah, you can even say that it's according to Rabbi Yehuda, not just Rabbi Yossi. Wow. Hasam be'erev Shabbosos v'Yamim Tovim min hamincha ulamala hu da'asir. because you can suggest that on Erev Shabbos and Erev Yom Tov, the prohibition of eating in the afternoon only begins from mincha time and on, from 9.5 hours into the halachic day and on. However, samuch lemincha, shari. But close to mincha, like a half hour before that time, 9 hours into the day, shari. It is permitted to eat. Aval be'erev ha-pesach afilu samuch lemincha nami asra. However, the Mishnah is telling us that on Erev Pesach, there's an additional chumrah. There's an additional stringency to not eat on Erev Pesach afternoon, not only starting from mincha time, not only from 9.5 hours into the day, but even samuch lemincha, even a half hour before that, even starting from 9 hours into the day. According to Rav Papa's interpretation of the Gemara, the Mishnah can also reflect the opinion of Rabbi Yehuda, and the reason why the Mishnah specifies Erev Pesach is because while Erev Shabbos and Erev Yom Tov, the Isur of eating in the afternoon begins only from Mincha Ulamala, whereas by Erev Pesach it's a little more strict, and it will start from Samuch Lemincha and on. The Gemara in the next step will challenge the explanation of Rav Papa. Says the Gemara, Ube'erev Shabbos samuch lemincha shari? Is it true that you're allowed to eat from samuch lemincha on Shabbos? Is that really true? That you're allowed to eat on Shabbos afternoon 9 hours into the day, and the prohibition only really begins at 9.5 hours? Says the Gemara of Ha'atanya, but we learned in a brisa, Lo yochel adam be'erev Shabbos v'yamim tovim mitesha sha'os u'lamala. The brisa says that a person is not supposed to eat on Erev Shabbos and regular Erev Yom Tov from 9 hours into the day. Kadeshi kanesh l'Shabbos kashu tava, so that you could enter Shabbos with an appetite. Divrei Rabbi Yossi. Divrei Rabbi Yehuda. That's the opinion of Rabbi Yehuda. The Rabbi Yossi Omer Ochel v'olech asher. And according to Rabbi Yossi, you are allowed to eat Erev Shabbos or Erev Yom Tov afternoon. The challenge to Rav Papa is that we see from this brisa that the prohibition on eating on Erev Shabbos or Erev Yom Tov afternoon begins actually from Samuch Lemincha, from 9 hours into the day. So the Gemara now will try to defend Rav Papa's interpretation. Amar Mar Zutra says, Man lemalon dimitaratzdahi. Who says that this brisa that is being used to challenge Rav Papa is correct? Turn the page to Kuf Amud. Dilma, line 1, mishabashtahi. Perhaps this is an incorrect version of a brisa. Maybe the brisa was not exact in its language, and therefore the prohibition will really begin from 9.5 hours, just like our Mishnah. Says the Gemara, no. Amar le Meremar v'itema Rav Yemar. Meremar says, and some say it was actually Rav Yemar, Anna ikla lepirke de Rab Pinchas berei de Rabbi Ami. I once went to a shir given by Rav Pinchas, the son of Rav Ami, v'kam Tana, and a certain Tana stood up at the shir, v'tani kamei, and taught this brisa that we're talking about before Rav Pinchas, v'kibla minei, and Rav Pinchas accepted this version of the brisa as correct. So this brisa that says Erev Shabbos and Erev Yom Tov, the prohibition of eating in the afternoon begins at 9 hours, is correct, because Rav Pinchas accepted this brisa in a shir. So back to the Gemara says, Ihachi Kashya. If that's true, then this is a difficulty for Rav Papa's explanation. Because according to Rav Papa, why would the Gemara specify Erev Pesach when the prohibition of Erev Pesach, on the one hand, and Erev Shabbos and Erev Yom Tov both begin at Samuch Lemincha at 9 hours? Why would the Mishnah specify Erev Pesach? Concludes the Gemara, Ella Machavarta Kidrav Huna. Rather, the clear interpretation, the correct interpretation of the Gemara is according to Rav Huna. Rav Papa's interpretation is rejected. Rav Huna is correct, and therefore the Mishnah is highlighting the opinion of Rabbi Yossi, that there's a difference between Erev Pesach and Erev Shabbos and regular Erev Yom Tov. Erev Shabbos and Erev Yom Tov, according to Rav Yossi, you are allowed to eat in the afternoon. There's no requirement to go into the meal with an appetite. But on Erev Pesach, Rav Yossi will agree not to eat in the afternoon because of the chiyuv achilas matzah that is coming that night.